Hi, I'm Dr. Chad Larson. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And that's especially true when it comes to food. Foods, good healthy foods, are loaded with various types of nutrients and constituents, but it's important to while the whole is still greater, it's important to study the individual constituents and nutrients in food so we know how they act physiologically in our body. And fiber is one of those. Fiber is so important to our general health. Pretty much every organ in the organ system in the body is benefited by us consuming fiber. So there was an interesting study that was done recently, and they looked at fiber in more traditional diets, and then they looked at fiber content in more, I guess, modern and Western diets. And what they found is that fiber in traditional diets is up to 40 to 60 grams per day, whereas in the standard Western diet there's only about 10 grams of dietary fiber per day. And right along with that, we see a much greater episodes of diseases of affluence in the Western diets. And diseases of affluence are like heart disease, diabetes, cancer, some of these conditions, these non-communicable type diseases that we don't see in traditional cultures. And diet is oftentimes at the centerpiece of those kind of conditions. So what they found out is that we can really decrease mortality from these conditions by increasing our fiber content. Also, there was a study that was done recently that looked at how fiber affects the cardiovascular system. And they looked at tens of thousands of individuals from, I think, ages 40 to about 79 and followed them for 14 years. And what they found out is the individuals that consumed the highest amount of dietary fiber per day had the lowest episodes of cardiovascular disease, and especially death due to cardiovascular disease. And what they looked at was the people who had the highest amount of fiber had 18% less deaths due to cardiovascular disease than the lower fiber groups. And then from cardiovascular disease, they isolated just coronary heart disease, was just one aspect of cardiovascular disease. Cardiovascular disease includes strokes and other cardiovascular issues, but coronary heart disease is just the heart itself. And what they found out is those who had the highest consumption of dietary fiber had up to 58% lower rate of deaths due to coronary heart disease. And what was interesting was the amount of fiber in the highest end. And the highest end was only 14 grams per day, not even close to the 40 to 60 grams in traditional diets, but still higher than the average Western diet. So it doesn't take that much more to reap really significant benefits. And what's interesting is if there was a drug that was manufactured from a pharmaceutical company that yielded such results, where they had a almost a 60% decrease in deaths from coronary heart disease, it would be a blockbuster medication, and it'd probably be very expensive, and it would create great profits for the pharmaceutical company. But lowly fiber does the same thing. Just a little bit of dietary fiber every day does the same thing, and it will cost you pennies, and it won't have any side effects except positive effects for your body. There's lots of sources of fiber that we can get in our diet, from various whole grains like whole grain brown rice to various fruits like apples and pears, and you can there's great supplements that have fiber in it. We can get fiber from beans. Is an excellent source of fiber. In fact, just a half a cup of beans gives us 10 grams of fiber in just one serving of beans. So it's very easy to do. It's very easy to increase our level of fiber. Do it slowly. If we all of a sudden start pounding fiber, we can get kind of bloated and feel uncomfortable. So start slowly, but it's important to start today. And I hope this has been helpful information, and thanks for listening.